Good afternoon, Speed Gaming, or good evening, or whatever time it is. Welcome to the brackets of the Link to the Past Randomizer main tournament. Today we have the first game between McMonkey and Eriror. We've got Ambrosia as our mode today with that starting sword. I am Radical Sniper 99, or Jesse, joined by Mayan DM. How are you doing?
Doing well. We've got a nice, well, it's an afternoon for me anyway, so we're going to roll with afternoon. Ambrosia matchup in our round of 64. We've reached bracket stage at this point, so all the runners here, even a cut above the people who made groups, and we ought to have a pretty good show in store. Again, we're going to go with this afternoon. The time is kind of rolling along, but afternoon for the moment.
Yep. So we are going to get that boots hint to start, and we do see that it is somewhere in Dark World. Now, Dark World is a very unique hint for this mode. That could mean Dark Death Mountain. That could mean very many checks in the Dark World, and it could also mean our Smith Chain.
Plenty of options. You kind of stop and wonder how much do you want to just roam around and start looking for them. How much in Ambrosia do you really want to allow the Ambrosia hint to cause you to alter what might otherwise be your routing?
Yeah, and that's a hard question. I know you and I both went through the group stage. I personally had 2 Ambrosia seeds during groups, and I let those hints influence my decisions both times, and you never know if it's going to work out or completely bite you.
I had one, and I did not bite on the hint, and it was good that I didn't bite on the hint. Anyone who missed that blind pull boots off of head seed? Yeah, that was a thing.
So yeah, there's a lot of ways you can take this kind of information. The one thing I will say is we're very, I guess we call it blessed, that we got a lot of bombs early in this seed.
Normally you get into these standard style escape starts and you think, where are my bombs coming from? I'm going to need, or at least want, to try and get into the back area of Hyrule Castle. 3 items worth of density there. Do I need to go kill a bunch of guards, find out if they've got a bomb in their prize pack? Am I going to have to kill rats later and find out if they've got a bomb in their prize pack? No, the game today just says here, bombs, bombs, more bombs. Nothing else, of course, but all the bombs you can stand.
That, we've got the small key to Hyrule Castle already as well, so maybe we'll find the map next. Let's keep going with stuff not exactly helping us. So yeah, this is, of course, the start of our brackets. Both these runners coming out of the group stage. Monkey was in Group J, went 3-3, got in on a tiebreaker. Not a tiebreaker race, but the tiebreakers themselves to slide in. And then Eri was our Group AD, I believe it was, winner. So at 5-1. So actually, corrected. Both first and second in that group were 5-1, so I don't know which one actually came out as the winner of Group AD.
I'm not sure how far down the tiebreaker chain that goes in point.
Yeah.
But in any event, you have to win an awful lot of games to go 5-1 in any group.
Exactly. And we've got a lot more games to win if either of these two hope to become champion this year. We're getting confirmation from Drawsy in chat that he had actually got the #1 seed or the top spot out of Group AD due to his qualifying as the #1 seed. I have to say, this is a pretty good MSU.
Yeah, the castle track doesn't leave anything to be desired, does it? It really kind of kicks you right along. Both of our runners gonna head on into the dark here. We've already got that small key, so at least the possibility that something lives in Dark Cross that they're looking for.
Yeah, you can hope. I mean, it'd be nice. Just something. It's kind of rough that we just haven't found anything yet, and $50 is... I can't say it's a bad thing. Like, that guarantees we're gonna have enough money for Bottle Vendor heading into Kakariko.
It kind of feels like it's bomb adjacent, though, doesn't it? Here's $50, you can buy bombs. Oh, wait. It's just a different form of the 10-pack of bombs that you can get in a true standard start rather than a standard assured sword start.
But here we go with that back of escape. $20. Hey, early cape and the map, so we do have something in Sanctuary at least. And of course, with all those bombs we have, it doesn't really feel like it's a premium to go and do the upper exit for those 3 checks. And why not? We need the top off.
Yeah, make sure you're at that full 10 leaving. Does somebody want to be silly? And by somebody, I would mean Monkey. Go ahead and save and quit and go to South Shore. Doesn't look like it, though. We're just going to go ahead and get the normal play out of the Sanctuary. We'll head toward the village, see what we see.
Yeah, we got a regular pendant over at Eastern. We got a 5/6 crystal down at Desert and a regular crystal up at Hera. So quite the mix here.
A little bit of everything in the Light World. Desert being a bit of an outlier, I feel, in terms of the Light World dungeons. The requirements for it, simply because you need a way to get into it, feel a lot higher than the other two.
Yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. And then, of course, with that Dark World hint for boots, it becomes even more interesting to think about. And here we go with the early divergence, possibly Eri getting that $100 out of the Thieves drop, and gonna save and quit, and here comes, I guess, South Shore? Yep. Yeah, Eri's gonna hope for, you know, a bottle, a flute, just something to make CAC Village a little bit better. You know, maybe hit a few extra checks. So we'll see if we do get anything. We do get the Moon Pearl early.
One of those nice required items that you're going to have eventually anyway. Without anything else particularly lending itself to Dark World access, unless you want to rush a supremely early Aga, I don't know that it changes a whole lot in a runner's mind.
Yeah, I'll be very curious. There's that first bottle, though, for Monkey. Has a fairy in it, and there's a bottle for Eri. Eri's going to think, oh man, this is a great play. Got that bottle for when I go to CAC. We'll need to later find out, yeah, there was another bottle available.
It is the kind of thing you hope for when you attempt to put the village off a little bit in your early gameplay. The big one, the one that everybody is really hoping to find in a situation like this, would of course be the flute. And
Yeah.
Who knows, could just be sitting here in Mini Moldorm Cave.
And the items are just coming. Oh my gosh, we've got Dark World access already on Eri's side. And a mirror. Oh my god.
Glove and a mirror. Okay, the bow and hook shot for McMonkey, not to be underestimated, though, sitting there in the well.
Hello, Jet Seed. How are you doing today?
Spend 100 rupees, get half magic? That's not a bad opportunity cost, I don't think.
I wouldn't refuse it. I don't think any of us would. After dealing with the qualifier mode, I think a lot of us realized how much we love half magic, and while we don't need it, we would like it.
The more than one magic extension really is, I think, what it comes down to. If I've got 2 bottles and I don't have half magic, okay, it's kind of here or there. But as soon as you're stuck on 1 bottle and half magic in that qualifier mode, oof, that can get a little toasty sometimes.
Monkey helping release the chicken. We appreciate it.
Has time, even in a big high-stakes race like this, to go ahead and free the chickens of Hyrule.
So let's find out if we need those boots. Not for that. I think there's a good chance we're going to need boots for desert, of course, so... We're going to get that little bit of a high five on race game. This route's actually going to turn out really nice for Eri, by the way. Going to finish up at Blinds and Cackwell and be able to head right into Dark World.
Certainly going to be convenient. I will be curious to see if that bow is going to lead Monkey in some other direction, maybe over towards the eastern area. We know it's a pendant, but we have the early bow. What might you want to do with it? While Eri does have that Dark World access, it's not a Dark World access form that gives you logical access to Pod, so things you think about in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, we know Monkey's probably should be getting gloves and mitts soon, so it really is a question of, how he wants to route this portion. Although Monkey completely showing us a different way of doing things, heading over to Agina.
This is one of those plays that I like to term qualifier safe. Now, a 1v1 race is decidedly not one of the big group qualifiers, but trying to make sure that you're not leaving some isolated Sphere 1 location on the table does make some sense.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of approaches on this check. It's very easy to get burned by this, and the fact that Eri, has already got Dark World access, it becomes far out for him. In this case, though, just a heart container, so nothing missed.
It does become peace of mind, too, which is a nice thing to have when you're worrying about where your remaining locations are. How do I get at that kind of terrible one-off location that I left way back there in Sphere 1? Now that's not a problem that Monkey has with the Agina's Cave location.
Yeah. So as we are nearing the Dark World checks, so assuming Eri heads into Dark World, how do you want to route this? Because I feel like we've got so many options already. We've got Graveyard Ledge, we've got Bumper Ledge, we've got the Smith Chain. Are we going to prioritize just all of our Dark World checks hoping for boots quick? Or are you going to go in and maybe try to beat Thieves Town or something like that?
Thieves Town is one of those dungeons that you'd really like to have the boots for. There are a lot of straight lines, there's a lot of walking if you don't have them. The room with all of the Gibos and the anti-fairy and everything else going on there is just a nightmare without boots, although with the cape it does get a little easier.
Yeah, we do have pendants at Turtle Rock and Ice, and our other 5/6 crystal at Thieves Town. I believe that was Green Pendant TR, so... And there's our flippers.
Okay, so those things that I was saying about Pod being illogical, we can throw all that right out the window. Early Dark World check says, alright, well you can go there anytime you want now. I believe that was the cold rod that makes things freeze there in the C-shaped house.
Yeah, the one thing one of those things we don't really need for this seed.
You kind of hope that it's just the logic had to, the randomizer had to place it somewhere and not, well, you should start eyeballing askance the green pendant TR play.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what could even be locked within Turtle Rock at this point already, you know.
Flute or the medallion for Meyer, I think, would be the two big ones.
I think that's the only two things that can even be at this point, just given some of the other one-offs we've already got. We've got a hookshot, we've got a mirror, we've got a bow, and we just need so much to actually be able to do Turtle Rock to begin with. And part of me would also say I'd avoid the mountain until I have logical access anyway.
That makes sense, and the meme addition to that would be required second sword.
Now that's just mean.
Yeah, and incredibly unlikely, but again, a possibility. Every once in a while you see these things, and so you bring them up because they're kind of hilarious in hindsight and not necessarily at all fun at the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, what's a lot of how a runner looks at this is just, okay, I don't want to ever believe it's a ped seed. It's never a ped seed, but I need to have that thought of, you know, what am I still looking for based on the information I've already got?
And speaking of our divergent paths, we do have Monkey going ahead with the Play into Thieves, and the Smiths have the boots, so Eri, prioritizing the Dark Overworld, has gained a little early advantage here.
Yeah, and it looks like Monkey's gonna take the Death Warp here. He's not expecting to go further in. He just wanted to do the front four. Definitely gonna lose a little bit of time just from the dash lines that Eri's gonna be able to have for the whole dungeon. But, you know, that possibility of finding out, hey, maybe the hammer's here, maybe the fire rod, just something to do for the rest of that would be nice. And yes, while the hint was Dark World, and you might be saying, hey, the Smith is in Light World, Smith is technically listed in the spoiler log as a Dark World check, so don't worry, it all makes sense. Our runners are well aware of that being a possibility.
Seems pretty likely that Monkey is going to land on that spot in exactly the same way that Eri did, just a handful of seconds behind because decided to make that quick Thieves Run 4 dip.
Yeah, that's the thing at this point. Monkey has done a couple of extra little checks. You know, he made the Thieves Town play, he made the Agena check. Nothing that's really a problem, just nothing that's benefited him yet.
Looks like Eri is going to bypass, at least for the moment, that first chest of swamp check that is maybe a little silly sometimes, but I do like that a little more in situations where you have the Mitts Dark World access, because sometimes the hammer's just sitting in there and coming back never feels good.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'd want to play this. This is, you know, we're done the obvious checks at this point. Although that makes it obvious to where I would go. Although I do like this. Ares, I think, going to give us Hylia Island and the other flipper checks. But I have to believe we're going to start gearing up for Death Mountain.
Plenty of checks up there to be made, no doubt about that. Ooh, and
Ouch.
That zero is quite the bomber.
But Harry still had the fairy, so one little benefit there for him. Unfortunately, having to waste the fairy already when you got Mirror. And Eri is abandoning that portal, so we're not going to see this continue up to pod. I think this is going to be all your flipper checks into Death Mountain at this moment. With a quick run for King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks, and possibly even a Lumberjack check, I would have to believe.
When you're making that play up the mountain, you don't have the flute yet, it's really the time to do it.
And we do get the skip on the other flipper checks, so not going to check those for now.
Just put the quick one check into the back pocket there, and the rest of them chain up maybe a little better.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got... We don't have to do Ice Palace, so... Can't say I completely disagree. But they are going to be a little bit harder to want to go back to now, I think. And yeah, as chat's pointing out, this does also kind of orphan Graveyard Ledge. And I don't know when you would have gone back for it to begin with, after where, you know, how that kind of chain evolved.
Maybe what it becomes is something along the lines of Graveyard Ledge to Catfish and then into the Zora area?
Potentially. Was that just a piece of heart? No, that was a blue rupee.
That was a blue rupee.
Yep.
So, decidedly Aga not required.
Yeah, and Monkey's actually going to continue at least a cat, or gonna use this backdoor. I love this backdoor for the bridge. We'll see if that leads to Pyramid, Catfish, Zora, though. Or if this is a pod play.
The lamp one was one of those remaining couple of pieces that you needed to go ahead and make the Palace of Darkness play. The hammer is the last outstanding one, but at this point there's nothing saying that the hammer can't just be in there.
And I'm a little bit surprised by this route from Eri. Looks like we're going to get the play to Dark Death Mountain first before taking out Tower of Hera. The only risk I see there is, you know, if you have to make a decision, like if we find Hammer here, you know, how do you decide between a potential Spike Cave or Spiral Cave?
Yeah, that's tough to say. I don't know. Maybe you just get to the top of the mountain here and you drop back in and do Spiral really quick. It's inconvenient, but the way those two caves are placed, they're always going to be at least mildly inconvenient. Not a whole lot to be said for Paradox Cave, was there?
No, this is the dense play, and I love that Eri's been aggressive with the mountain. But I'm just surprised on how we got nothing for 7 checks. So Monkey's gonna refill that bottle.
It's a pretty good refill.
Yeah, I'll take it. And the 300 rupees is also really nice, given that we're about to see Zora.
I think the new best thing that Eri has found up here is Coward's Mail.
Yeah, that might be it. But here we go, Hookshot Cave, 4 more checks. And we haven't scouted Floating Island, have we?
I do not believe so.
And continuing the theme of bombs, we just keep finding more bombs. Okay, here's that TR medallion check. It is the Bombos medallion, which we already have. Not that we can do anything here. Oh, hey, that's a hammer.
Alright, that's a thing you can go get. And I think this is going to be Monkey cleaning up things like Graveyard Ledge in addition to the King's Tomb and Mock Rock checks that Eri made, and then likely a play up the mountain. It's either that or he's going to turn south and go to Pod.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be the north, personally, as well. Yeah, it looks like he's gearing up for north. Monkey is starting... I don't want to say it's like a catastrophic amount falling behind or anything, because it's definitely not. But there's definitely a feeling of, you know, Monkey's thoroughness has not paid off yet. And Eri's direction has really been working out across the board so far. And I almost feel like something needs to be on Graveyard Ledge to kind of shift things a little bit.
Well, on Graveyard Ledge or in some other location that Monkey in this more thorough style checks that Eri doesn't.
True.
It does seem like at least 25 minutes in that that's going to be the answer to the seed is something off the critical path, in which case Monkey has a real chance to not just get the time back that he's spending on the additional checks, but that he thinks is his out, maybe.
Yeah, it's a tough question. These are two, you know, surprise, surprise. We're at the top 64 runners of the main tourney. You know, everybody's good. Like, let's be honest here. But you know, we all notice. You know, you go into a race and you're like, okay, I know this person can do this or something that I can't do, or maybe does something a little more efficiently than I can. You know, do I have to mix up my play a little bit? Unfortunately, Monkey there getting some mirror bonking.
Sometimes the game just does not really cooperate with you as well as you might hope. Now, Monkey hanging onto that portal has now seen Bumper Ledge, a full heart container.
Did you happen to get a count of the items we've seen here so far in Hera?
I did not.
As we do get an item there.
Looks like chat's going to bail us out there. We're thinking there is one in the big chest, so Vanilla Big Key?
Darn. Well, we do get the old man leading the old man. One of the greatest parts of selecting that sprite.
I think the greatest part of that sprite is the bunny form, personally.
Bunny skeleton is good. Won't disagree. And we get the shovel out of Spike Cave today. Hello, fetch quests.
Why, thank you, video game. I hope never to need it.
Well, and I think, looking at where Eri started for this, I think his route is pretty set at this moment. I think we're going to go with Thieves Town, into the shovel check, maybe get a hammer pegs in there, into Swamp, into Pod at this rate. I think he's got a loop set up for Dark World. And I think the only thing that changes it is, you know, maybe we get like a flute and make some additional stops, you know, maybe go check out the mire area real quick and find out what medallion we need. But nice Harapot from both of our runners.
I will be curious to see here on Monkey's side if the thoroughness that he's been playing with so far is going to extend to digging the second item out of Tower of Hera.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. I mean, trying to think, you know, is there an item in Hera Big Chest that would swing things? Because at this point, we are starting to hit a bit more of a linear seed. At least from the perspective of Eri. Like, he's gonna... I think you see the route through the dungeons. At least 3 more crystals.
Yeah, and I think chat's hit on the answer already here. Flute would be the big out.
Yeah.
Now, from Monkey's perspective, he has not even seen that hammer over on the floating island there, so maybe a little more likely. I'll go ahead and use myself as an example. If I don't have full Dark World access yet, I'm more likely to make sure that I dig the second item out of Hera.
Yeah, it's a tough decision, and I don't disagree with you there. It's one of those things you get, you know, if I get a small key and a non-item in the first 2 checks of Hera, I can't say I'm not more tempted to get that big key. And Monkey is leaving. And yeah, that was a good Fighter Sword Moldorm fight. You know, people mentioning Eri is, of course, currently the NMG any percent world record holder. Monkey's no slouch in the category. Also has a time at least a couple or 3 minutes below the 90-minute mark, which is usually a good benchmark that a lot of NMG runners look at. So, you know, not surprising that he also had a great fight there.
A fight that he may have done a time or a couple hundred in his past.
Yes.
Looks like Eri's been counting items here. We're not picking up the chest in the Maiden Cell, we're just heading directly to the boss room. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, like the, you know, I see in chat the talk about Spike Cave and Spiral. I think Monkey's gonna orphan one of them now. That hammer placement really did not lend itself to his routing, which is the route I personally would have also taken. So, we'll see which one he does or does not get. But nice blind fight over on Eri's side for the mushroom. Wait, were we counting items? Yeah, surprise, Ambrosia.
Oh, thank you. Can I just say that's one of those things you forget about?
It's really easy to forget about. It's one of my big complaints about the mode. It doesn't matter until it does.
Yep. So here we go, hammer pegs now for Eri. And, I mean, I know it's a kind of a dead joke at this point, but when is hammer pegs gonna stop being an important thing in this tournament?
I don't know, at least it wasn't also Graveyard Ledge, but that Cane of Samaria, we've seen Bombos as the requirement for Turtle Rock, we've got the hammer, I'm starting to have certain suspicions.
Yeah, I'm getting a little concerned here about that, that pendant. And Eri is starting to close up some of those loose ends. I'll be curious if this goes to all the flipper checks or if this is just a route towards Pod. Pod's definitely a little bit better of a dungeon than Swamp Palace from a full clear perspective.
You'd like to be able to dodge things like left side swamp if the game lets you, and depending on what you still need at that point, maybe the game lets you.
Well, and I was completely wrong. Eri is going to continue with dungeons. Which, how can you argue it?
His choices have been working out well enough so far.
I'm just gonna, like, stop assuming I know how to route this game, at least from the perspective of what Eri's doing, because Swamp Palace is coming before Pod. And Monkey is gonna give a Spike Cave.
Again, it does seem to be that thoroughness is going to be Monkey's order of the day, going to try and count on catching something that Eri misses to give himself a shot here.
But realistically, at this point, we are at minimum 2 items from Go mode, depending upon the medallion requirements. Oh, and a sword. So I guess 3. It looks like Monkey's going to skip Thieves Town for the moment, hoping maybe to get Flute and be able to do Thieves Town and Flute activation at the same time.
It's not unreasonable having already dipped the front, so... Another one of those things you have to start wondering about is the potential for, say, a fire rod in a French vanilla or true vanilla location in Skull Woods.
Yeah, we haven't seen Skull Woods at all yet, and I know a lot of people have mixed emotions about that dungeon without a fire rod.
Particularly in Ambrosia, where you know that one item's going to be locked on the boss, but then if the other item is just the fire rod, you say, well, how was I ever getting to that?
Exactly. So we are going to go right into the back of Swamp Palace. Can't disagree with the play. I would try to avoid it as best as I can. We'll just see if there is anything back here. I think if you get one of the items you're missing, you probably don't come back for left side, although there is the compass and the big key. Ooh. 2 items guaranteed now on between big chest and left side. And there's the map, so we've got 3 items still in this dungeon. Ouch.
At that point, you're almost assuredly coming back in.
Agreed.
And I've talked to some runners about this, and you're always kind of bargaining with yourself. What gets me to leave here? How many things do I need to find before I say I can leave behind whatever's left? And when there are still 3 locations remaining, you know they all have items of some kind. The answer to that is I just have to go back.
Yeah, 3 items is too much. I'm sorry, I can't skip. He's setting up for the ice rod strats. Oh, beautifully done.
And all that for a sword. Convenient thing to find.
Yeah.
That does lower our potential go mode requirements. We know we need 2. We may need a medallion yet.
And Aries coming back in, so Monkey can, you know, could possibly decide to leave. But as we've been saying, Monkey's been pretty conservative on his choices so far.
If not only that, but I feel like Swamp is another one of those locations in the entirety of this tournament that's had some outsized impact. Feels like there's been an awful lot of stuff in Swamp in general and left side Swamp in particular. Monkey having a little trouble with getting these puffs to cooperate, yeah.
Yeah. You know, as much as any of us practice this, sometimes that happens. You know, you get that first one, and then you try to hook a second one, and it just, you get that poke. And with Fighter Sword, it just completely eats it, and you lose your spin charge. And I think Monkey is out of magic, but does get that final spin after at least landing a few shots there.
Monkey's crystal count up to 2 with that one behind Airy, who did finish Thieves Town in one go.
And Monkey's leaving. And that's going to be the big question now, that Quake medallion.
I've got a bad feeling about that one. If you're a McMonkey supporter here, that's a kind of thing that you did not want to see come out there. Ooh,
and there's
with
the Fire Rod.
Fire Rod's a nice one.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought Monkey might continue back up through VOO. Looks like he's going to instead come at this from the other side. So Spike Cave definitely required today. Yeah, that Quake medallion is a real worry now. And it's unfortunate, you know. This is just part of the gamble you take, and you run this risk throughout playing this game.
Yeah, it's interesting where McMonkey had been by far the more thorough of the two runners, and then is the one of the two that decides to make the left side skip. And we don't know. It's entirely possible that the Quake Medallion is a total red herring, that it's Ether or Bombos, that either neither of our runners have or both of our runners have to get into Misery Mire, and we can't possibly know that until the flute shows up.
Yeah, we have no idea where that one is. But both of our runners saying we're going right to Skull Woods. Monkey going with, I would say it's a more traditional route, but this also is based a little bit on the clears already done. Airy, having finished Village of Outcasts, is saying, if I can get the first item in the front of Skull Woods there, I can save and quit from Moth. But did not work out as we hit the map and compass as our first two checks in Skull Woods.
I was kind of hoping we were going to get nearly simultaneous Moth fights, but Monkey wants to see this under the bridge check first.
And there's our big key to Skull Woods, so...
Those fire rod dashes not cooperating quite as well for Monkey as they did for Airy. It was very cleanly done on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Monkey with sword beams right now is really making this this Gibdo a lot harder to kill.
So it's a 4th crystal for Airy. It's going to be a 3rd crystal for Monkey in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, and Monkey's going to be heading into his 4th crystal soon, probably heading for Thieves Town next. So really just a back of Thieves behind for the most part. It really is coming down to this question of the Quake Medallion and where's our flute?
At this point, you'd have to think we'll see Pod next, once the second item comes out of here from Airy.
I have to believe so as well. I mean, part of my thought would be, you know, we're going to do Pod and then probably Sahasrahla and or Eastern if we don't find it. Or are you doing Pod, Sahasrahla, and then skipping Eastern to maybe do TR first? I don't know. But no, I think Pod there's our flute, so doesn't matter.
Okay, so question answered. Now you just leave here, you go activate said flute. How quickly can you get yourself at the mire area to find out whether or not you have what you need?
I think you're going there first. Immediate in this case, you know. I'm activating my flute. I'm flying to mire, seeing if I'm in go. I'm clearing desert, checking the mire shed and whatnot else. And then I'm going to go beat Pod. And all I'm going to know is, what do I need to do first? So for Monkey, though, that of course means we're going to do Thieves Town. Hopefully he does remember Hammer Pegs after this as well.
That's a pretty tough spot to get at if you don't get it now, having already gone through the rest of the area.
But here we go. Is Airy in go mode? He's assuming he's got it. And we don't! We are short ether. That Quake Medallion on left side swamp. Complete and total red herring. But there's a 3rd sword, so very nice. No runner would turn their nose up at that.
No, that is a really convenient quote-unquote safety item. Certainly a comfort level involved in having that 3rd level sword for anybody who, like both of these runners, has run the vanilla game a lot.
Yeah. Not that you can't do a Master Sword Ganon, but it just feels nice to be able to do the 1-on-1 and not worry. But here we go. Desert Palace is our new information now on Airy's side. Just looking for that Ether Medallion, but gonna have to go through these early checks for that big key as well. And depending on what checks Airy makes after this, you know, this is opportunity for Monkey, having done some of those early checks we talked about.
And the question becomes if that ether's not on the main path, like so many of the other things really have been, where do you go to look for it? I would point out that I'm still harboring those suspicions about Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and I'm definitely starting to near that place myself. Like, I think you and I are in agreement. You know, you do desert and you do checkerboard. I think Eri does Agina and finishes out this area, and then what? It's Pod and Sahasrahla. But after you do that, if you still don't have Ether, are you doing TR or Eastern Palace?
Probably Eastern, if only because you're right on top of it, but man, the suspicion is so strong right now.
And I just realized we have that mushroom now on Monkey's side that we haven't seen turned in. Okay, so here's the mirror from Monkey, gonna activate his flute. Is he going to remember to check out hammer pegs? This is gonna be, you know, his last main opportunity for this check.
And when you still have a couple of fully clearable crystal dungeons on the table, you do kind of stop and wonder, do I want to do this one-off before I leave the area? And it appears the answer is going to be no.
Yeah, this is dangerous. I think the one positive here is, you know, it can keep him out of Turtle Rock. But at the same time, you know, depending on when we get Ether, it could steer him in the wrong direction.
Mushroom just good for a full heart container there. That's not going to change anything.
And our tracker Scoopula pointing out Pyramid's also an option now.
That is an option that is on the table, and I'm trying to remember, did Eri ever wind up over at Catfish? Because that would be about the last thing that he would have to start tying that area together.
Yeah, and Eri's starting to hit some of these one-offs just in case, being able to say, hey, can I make Pod better? You know, if I find the big key, can I just go kill Helma?
And since for the moment the answer is no, we'll get as much of Pod as we see until either the Ether Medallion is in hand or everything in the dungeon is checked.
Although Eri does have that mirror out, I think we might get Sahasrahla's closet first.
It's entirely reasonable.
Yeah.
Casual check of a Spear 1 location nearly an hour into the game, and happens sometimes.
Yeah, the one thing is that this one can definitely set a runner off a little bit. Oh no. The book.
And the runner's mind immediately says, I really hope it's not vanilla ether.
I mean, that or Bombo's tablet. Don't put it on a tablet. Like, our runners do not want to go back to Bombo's tablet either.
Bombo's tablet would be even worse of a location. At least if you're going to go up and check Ether tablet, you can pair that in with going to Turtle Rock. Bombo's tablet, we've already cleared Swamp. Now, on Monkey's side, I guess, theoretically, you only cleared half of Swamp and could conceivably chain that up?
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit more incentive for him to possibly hit that. And there we go, the big key first check of House of Darkness. Unfortunately, this is definitely not a go-modable pod.
Unless there's only one small key here on the bow-locked side and ether is the other item.
I mean, if I get 2 keys here, I think I still just go kill Helmet first. If I get 1 key, I'm a little more gun-shy about that kind of play, I would say. Like, I'd want 2 keys if I'm going to go directly to Helma.
Yeah, I agree. It was more a comment of if it's the small key and then ether is the other item, you're just in go mode, you go kill the boss.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, we got our 2 keys. I think at this point, you know, if Eri's going to go straight to Helma, and yep, here we go.
Because it's Ambrosia, we know the boss is not going to have a dungeon item, so if we find what we're looking for there, we're just done, and we don't have to worry about anything else.
Meanwhile, Monkey giving us that that land mollusk kill, and blink and you miss it. I think that was a 1 cycle.
How to Eat Fried Worms by McMonkey.
Okay, so Monkey has finished up in Desert, is going to join Aryan Pod, so the crystal number is going to stay consistent. You know, we're nearing that 6 apiece, but the big question, of course, now is when does Monkey hit hammer pegs for Canis Samaria, and where's Ether?
That first question, I think, is the real danger for Monkey, because while it locks you out of Turtle Rock, if you find Ether first, you can absolutely go to Misery Mire and full clear the place looking until you find the one item. And you're not going to find your Samaria there, because we've seen it already.
Okay, Eri heading back into Pod just as Monkey is entering Pod. We do still know there's a chance for 1 item in the front of Palace of Darkness. We've technically gotten 2, now 3 small keys and the big key, so there's 1 more item potential here. Now, for Monkey, he's still technically missing 2 items for Go mode with that Ether and Cane. I wonder if we see him go and do the back of Pod before Helma, or still go with the Helma first. I think we'll still get Helma first.
That would be my guess as well, but there are arguments to be made both ways.
Yeah, it might feel like, hey, I can get Samaria. It makes it so I don't have to do a statue pull and everything. But there's our silver arrows there in the rupee basement of Pod.
Not a bad thing to have, but when you already have Tempered Sword, it's not something that you're really going out of your way looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little convenience item. We still got Vitreous coming up.
Not the kind of thing you're going to turn down if you just find it opening one fine chest.
Exactly.
And Monkey's going to have that for the Helma fight. Decided to play against what we were thinking, clearing out the whole thing first.
Yeah, the one thing I'm surprised here from Monkey is having the big key and the small key arrangement. I thought we might get him to make a play of a hammer yump to come back through the harmless hellway, in order to not have to go through the front of pod again, or go through the front door of pod. But Aries going to give us the Bombos tablet. He realizes this is kind of an isolated check for him, so he wants to knock this out real quick. Maybe a little concerned, hey, it's possible Monkey had the book.
The bow was early. If Monkey routed the village before South Shore, which in fact he did, it's possible that he could have gone over to that Saha Eastern area relatively early, had the book, want to try and prevent any damage from being done here.
Now, here's the curious play. Eri going back into that portal for what? Oh, Pyramid, duh. We're going to get Pyramid Fairy on Eri's side now. And this might lead into the Catfish Zora checks, possibly even into Ice Palace. And yeah, at that point for Eri, it's going to become Pick a Pendant. Everybody's favorite game in Rando. But nice damage strats here with that the big bomb and hook dashes throughout. Saved a lot of time in delivering the big bomb here. And nothing on Pyramid Fairy, so still searching for Ether.
Exceptionally little value there. We spent 100 rupees and all the time to get that bomb up there for a piece of heart and 5 rupees change.
I mean, I'd even take the 4th sword, even though I don't need it. But meanwhile, Monkey coming up on Helmasaur as Aries going to knock out some of the checks we saw already from Monkey earlier today. So at this point, it really is a question of, you know, some of those early checks that we were kind of curious on Monkey's decisions to what we thought might have been overclearing is coming back now. Monkey is seeing the benefit here of being thorough early.
Yeah, the time in hand only really helps you if you don't then spend it on the checks later.
And yeah, you know, this still just comes down to when does Monkey hit hammer pegs, though. That's the scary part. I think if you're in Monkey's position, you want to see Ether first. I think that's clear. Like, if he gets if he goes back for Samaria soon, it opens up a lot of checks. Whereas, like, if he can find Ether first, you know, maybe he goes into Mire. But what we do know is it keeps him out of Turtle Rock, and like, I would not be shocked if Aries heading there now.
It's the mountain start and the hook shot rather than the flute coming out. Yeah, Ether tablet into the TR play again, trying to cover against that book being so early. While Monkey is over here in Eastern Palace, found compass and map in the first 2 chests.
Thanks, game. I love it when you tell me I have to go do vanilla big key chest of Eastern Palace no matter what in Ambrosia. So both of our tablets proving worthless today.
So the book also seems to have been a bit of a red herring. We did have other access. Oh, that's a thing.
There we go. Ether medallion for Monkey. Monkey looking now for Samaria as Eri is looking for Ether. He's not going to get it here in Turtle Rock. We're going to get a full clear of green pendant PR. I think the big... I don't want to call this an out for Eri, but like, you know he's going to turn in probably that green pendant after this. Like, I think that's the clear play for him. But does that mean Eastern Palace after this or Ice in terms of pick a pendant?
With the flute, you can't even really say that it's difficult to be near Eastern if you want to make the ice play instead, but I don't know, the allure of the dungeon that you're right next to is always pretty strong.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I will say, like, Monkey making this play after Pod is as strong as what Eri did afterwards as well. Like, Monkey had cleared a lot of light world checks, or overworld checks, and was down to pick a pendant, whereas Eri had a lot of overworld left with the pendants. So I can see why Monkey would have gone into Eastern afterwards anyway, even with the Cane of Samaria. I can't say for sure if he would have made the direct play to Turtle Rock there either. But yeah, at this point, Monkey needs to make the play over to Hammer Pegs. What brings him there, I don't know. I hear a lot of, or I'm reading chat saying a lot, Powder is kind of the big one.
Yeah, I'm really expecting at this point we're going to get the flute to 6. At this point, you go ahead and play as if we're going to have Samaria in its vanilla. No, we're fluting to 4.
We're going to get that tablet. Is this also going to be the redip of Swamp? I'm not loving the idea. I like that Monkey's trying to stay out of Ice Palace. The one danger of this mode, you know, we talk so much about Ambrosia. Ice Palace is never cane locked in Ambrosia. So one of those pieces of information you'll love to have is just not in this mode. Oh, Big Bomb, of course. Monkey also going to give us a lot of those hook dashes. Monkey, however, is avoiding the damage boosts. But nicely done as well. Eri making good work here in Turtle Rock. It's kind of, you know, here's the ticking clock for Monkey. I think this is the last set of checks Eri does before Eastern Palace.
And Turtle Rock is pretty time consuming. There are a lot of those tubes that you just don't get to make any faster by any means. So as long as he's in here, Monkey has the chance to get where he needs to go, but this is starting to look like ice.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate. You know, it's 3 items, but Ice Palace minus Cane of Samaria is going to be a bit more of a time investment as well. I am kind of surprised that Monkey didn't make at least a dip to Ice Palace to find the big key. and maybe get Kane out of there, but I can't disagree with the play either. Hoping to chase a little bit of density on that Kane.
Again, it's one of those random decisions that I feel like there are arguments you can make in both direction. When you've only got the one crystal dungeon left, I feel like I come down on the side of I'm just going to go ahead and go there, since I need, in the case of something like Meyer, to find that big key anyway. And if I find the item that I'm looking for at the same time, then I'm just miles ahead.
We do get a French vanilla mirror shield on Aries' side there on Laser Bridge.
An item that it is safe to say McMonkey will not find.
You mean you wouldn't hover TR looking for Cane of Samaria?
Maybe in a no logic seed.
But here we go. Aerie coming up on Trinex, going for the trying for 0 cycle. We'll see if we can get that. I don't know if... Yeah, 1 cycle, still nicely done. Very, very clean Trinex. And what is our prize for beating this boss? Just another piece of heart. Not that we're already on red mail and very comfortable with now 13 hearts.
And 3 bottles to go along with our half magic and cape. The seed has not been stingy with safeties.
No. Okay, so here comes the question. What is Aries' next play? Obviously, we're going to flute, but where? Gonna check out that green pendant. I completely understand this play. You're going to turn in the thing you just got. Question is after that going to be Ice or Eastern? They are equally valid choices for him. He's keeping the hook shot, so this looks like Eastern. Yep. Eastern Palace coming for Aerie. That does mean he will be getting go mode momentarily.
Monkey's still trying to dig the second item out of Ice Palace. We know the final one's going to be on the boss, whatever it may be. It has had to delve all the way down to Ice Tea.
Now we know that Monkey's next play, you know, after he gets this third item, he's... I don't know, where is he gonna go? Like... He's kind of running out of checks on his own as well. Wow, this Ice Palace is not kind.
Go all the way to Ice Tea for the big key so you can get 20 rupees out of the big chest. Nope. And there we are, 1 hour, 13 minutes and a half. Eriror enters go mode.
Yep. So gonna make his way to Misery Mire. We'll see what kind of queue layout we get for this one.
nothing from ice that it's going to draw Monkey anywhere he really needs to be. So the question is still open. Where is he going to go? Here's the Flute 6, so we'll have both of our runners in Mire at the same time, but one of them has the cane.
Yeah, we know there's one item here. We know we need the big key. I completely understand Monkey's play here for this. I wouldn't disagree with it at all.
Yeah, when Eri found the book, with the addition of having the cane in inventory already, going ahead and trying to guard yourself against a vanilla ether and then diving into TR makes a lot of sense. That ether tablet is a complete one-off as far as Monkey's concerned, because unless it is the cane, which is what he needs, he has no other reason to go up there.
Well, I think Monkey actually also left Spiral Cave.
So 2 checks, rather divergent. Yeah, that's
It's
still
not great.
not that compelling.
But this big key is not much better, though. We've already gone through the torches and our 2 potential Godmire checks, and neither paid out. So we're now on to this arena. And there it is.
Central Hub Big Key is okay. Nice little rail clip there. The rail clip is not the really impressive part. It's the cancel before you go down the stairs. Monkey still on that cane search is going to go ahead and give us the Vanilla Big Key location here. To try and clarify that conversation for chat, the idea is if we're trying to speculate over how and which of the checks that McMonkey has remaining he might choose to make. And because he doesn't have much to draw him up there, the Ether Tablet check is a little more out of his way than some other things might be. Is the thought. The cane is in fact in hammer pegs, and if he never goes back up the mountain again until he's going to GT, he's in better shape.
Yeah. It's just Monkey has left himself a few last locations, and none of them are all that great feeling. So it's really just a question, like, at this point, Monkey might be doing Bombo's Tablet in Swamp Palace over hammer pegs. We were kind of saying one of the things that could help him is powder, but it looks like at this rate, powder has to be in GT or on PED or something. Like, wherever the powder is, it's not coming up in a location that Monkey's finding. But Eri is heading towards GT, and I see a lot of numbers in chat. I think people are guessing about the location of a certain big key.
One last big key. It's not exactly the one ring, but it's close enough for our purposes.
Yeah, we got 22 locations in Ganon's Tower where it could be. If you want to take a guess, go for it. INDM, do you have a preference?
Not particularly. I tend to be a bit of a classical Bwayne router. I'll go over to Stalco's room and then I'll wander off to the right and see what I find. So I guess double firebar or fire snake are my big punishes, so one of those two.
And Monkey is going to make the other play we kind of forgot about up here. That basement big key and Hera leading to the big chest. So another one of those checks that there was a third check up here for Monkey, unfortunately.
Yep, there was a little more density up here than we were remembering. Still not going to bail him out, unfortunately. Classic torch small key there.
There's our big key in Hera. What does it lock? As what was that, number 3?
Number 3, GT big key in the top left-hand corner of the Stalco's room.
Let's see, did we get a 3? I see some 2s and some 4s. But I don't see a 3. Thanks for guessing. But yeah, unfortunately, no winners today, it looks like.
Try again next time, and there are plenty of next times. Do not kid yourself about that. It is still tourney season.
Yeah, we've got, we were talking about this earlier. This is the start of brackets. That guarantees at least 64 races this round alone. And I gotta point this out. I love seeing that strat from Eri in that first switch room.
The jump down bow, the switch strat, yep.
Yep. That is a beautiful strategy. Okay, so Monkey has finished with the Spiral Cave. That's all of Death Mountain. We'll see where he's off to next. Unfortunately, I'm looking at the density and thinking, yeah, this is looking like Swamp and Bombos.
One of those situations where you've made the gamble and you've come as close to functionally last locating it as you feel you can get away with, and now you're going to go back on it.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to get Bombos first, but I would be shocked if he doesn't head into Swamp at this point. Like, I feel like he's coupling these two checks.
Meanwhile, Blink, and you've practically missed this climb from Eri.
Yeah, definitely hitting all the right notes. That one cycle Landmo with the silvers. Each of these rooms, this is about ideal equipment for Eri, really, even better than ideal. So this is, this is a comfort zone.
I have all the things I normally have, and then I have some additional safeties on top of them because, well, why not?
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
And the worm turns. That is not going to be nearly enough to turn the match, but Moldorm does have a little something to say to Eri before he leaves.
Yeah, denying the hover. That is... Whew.
Yeah, gets it first try on the try that's not interrupted by the worm. Easy game.
Yep. And of course, the greatest part of hovering that gap is the infinite bumper.
Yeah, it looked like a convenient 2 on... Ooh, he almost got the 2 on that second one. That would have been a very impressive swing.
Yeah, that was a tough pattern. I think There's another 1, so a 2-1-1 so far. 2-1-1-2 for a 4-cycle Aga.
Given the way those second and third patterns were laid out, you can really understand it.
Yeah. But here we go again, and now on Aries' side as Monkey's finishing up left side swamp.
I'm going to assume that there's just a fairy in one of those bottles, but maybe not.
I think Aerie used the one fairy we got earlier. So, unfortunately, not having the hookshot out, I'm kind of surprised. But it happens.
Got a little over-eager there in Phase 2. That does happen sometimes.
Yep. And instead we're going to go with dash strats. Very nice on the second attempt there.
It looks so easy when good runners do it.
Oh, Ice Rock Cave for Monkey. I completely forgot we skipped that one earlier. Wow.
Casual 86-minute Ice Rod Cave check.
Yeah, and this just, I think at this point, Monkey knows this is kind of a... Whatever the position of the cane is, I think he realizes this is a bad situation. But nice double there. There's arrow number 3. And there we go. Arrow number 4 for Airy. He is going to cross a bridge and take game 1 between them.
You say game 1, that's a good time to remind that the brackets are best of 3, so Airy going to need to take another game. Just one does not do it.
Yeah, and there we go. Airy finishing first with a 126.39. And unsurprisingly, Monkey deciding to forfeit pretty much at about the same time. I think he's going to go and pull this Samaria to prove to himself where it was, but yeah.
You reach that point where I have not last located quickly enough, and yeah, we'll see it, and that's probably about the end of the road. But meanwhile, we are joined by the victor of this game 1 in this best of 3 set between these two runners, Eriror. Good game to you.
Yo, thanks. Yeah, I was a little bit of a sweat near the end. We're gonna pretend that the last 3 minutes didn't happen or something.
Well, I won't blame any. We'll blame Moldorm for the hover thing. Like, that was not on you at all. We'll block out some of the rest.
I mean, I could have seen that it was about to happen and reacted properly. That's like 90, or well, that's a big percentage of the game, I would say, is actually responding to RNG properly and not just hoping that you get the good RNG.
Yep. We are also joined by McMonkey. GG.
Hey, thanks.
Yo, GG's.
Thanks, Harry. Nice job.
Definitely a very back and forth race down to, the Ether Medallion and the Cane of Samaria for each of you for Go mode.
Yeah, we were chatting about in race time. I figured either Ether or Fire Rod could be a sticking point. My strategy coming in, I know that if I get on the same route as Airy, and we do all of the same things, then he's likely to come out ahead. So I wanted to make some calculated skips, look for some opportunities to do something that I think that he might not prioritize. And it just, it didn't work out this time. I didn't skip a ton of things, and it happened that, one of the things I skipped had something I need.
Right.
And I find it interesting that you put it that way, because Jesse and I were talking as the race was going on that you were the runner between the pair of you that was being substantially more thorough in your checks.
Well, so I did do. I've watched Ari play before and refreshed my memory on a few recent races just to see the sorts of things that he's more likely to check or less likely to check. It's always, I'm sure Ari doesn't even know when when he starts out a seed which things he's going to necessarily skip or not. It's all context dependent. But I wanted to try to aim to do things differently than he would have. Just to try to get an edge, without going overboard, being thorough. That whole Dark World loop was probably overly thorough, but the mountain was so obvious as the next play that I figured if I could get something from like Graveyard Ledge or King's Tomb, then it could be a big advantage.
Yeah, on the first Dark World loop, I was actually considering going to like Pyramid Catfish Sora as well. Like, I assumed that you did that, considering the.
Yeah. I blind checked the Hylia item and then just continued around to Pyramid Catfish Zora and then over to Graveyard Ledge and ended at the mountain going up.
Yeah, I went all the way up to Hollow and then left like Pyramid Catfish Store for if I did get access to Pyramid Ferry or something, because like I assumed that Desert it was like only a flute or a book away. So that point was like, okay, yeah, sure, maybe. But yeah, the mountain was just so juicy that I couldn't pass that up.
For as uninteresting as the mountain was, besides that hammer, really the fact that we also got the shovel leading to Fire Rod kind of makes it a little better than we thought.
Yeah, I'm curious, did you end up doing Spike Cave the first time through on the mountain?
Yeah. I did.
Just skip Spiral?
I did East of Mountain first, and then ended at Spiral, then save and quit, and did Hera plus.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Plus Spike. Yeah, and then I did Swamp first, and then got my Fire Rod. That book was so awkwardly placed, by the way.
Well, that was actually one of the things that if the opportunity to do Saha a little earlier came up, I was going to do that, and then when I saw that book, I said, oh boy, it's going to be book, isn't it? Just because I got there so late. Yeah, it was definitely awkward timing for when we got it. Yeah, I had the thought of doing Eastern early, even though it was a pendant, Saha Eastern. But then everything opened up with the Mitts and the Moon Pearl, and
yeah,
it's a tougher sell at that point.
Yeah, agreed. It was really hard to see when it was a good moment. Like, I was considering doing it after Pod, but I thought I would just like assume that Bombos and everything for Turtle Rock might have been necessary. So I was like, okay, I'll just do Turtle Rock first, and then Green Pendant plus Eastern, combine that, and then just work my way towards Ped. But I really didn't have a lot left myself either.
Well, that was the good thing about the being Cane Go mode for me, is Turtle Rock was never on the table. So it in some respects worked out to get the Cane last. It would have been nice to get it maybe 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but GG's. We got our next battle on Thursday, so we'll same time on Thursday. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Smart Money is on MC Boss. Based on the deck we have.
I was going to say, taking a look at your deck entering today's race, we had 1 for Tourney Hard, 1 for Tourney Inverted Keys, 4 for Ambrosia, and 4 for McBoss.
I have not seen MC Boss yet.
Me neither. That's amazing.
I haven't either, so...
So I'm the only one here who's had the MC Boss Shuffle. All right. And I'm the only one here who's already out of this thing. Maybe you never want to see it.
I mean, I personally really like most of the modes.
Yeah.
I was really happy to see Ambrosia because I was kind of tired. I was like, okay, well, it's probably the fastest mode we're gonna get in the tournament. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was nice.
I like all the modes. I think having the rotation keeps it fresh. Keeps you from burning out on any one particular mode. And there's enough to think about with the different modes that I think that it's going to do a good job of helping to separate the better runners in the end, because there's a lot of little details between inverted and boss shuffle, and the hard mode is not super hard, but it is a little bit more difficult, and then key sanity modes. So there's the person who wins this thing is going to be earn their crown for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, looking forward to the next race. Thank you so much for this one.
Yeah, thanks for the restream.
Be sure to watch the restream back as well. And then, I guess I'll see you all in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Thank you both for putting on a really great show for, I'd call it the afternoon crowd, kind of moving on into evening, at least for those of us on this side of the pond. It's got to be late for you, Ari.
Yeah, it's 1:15, so I'm gonna have to get some sleep.
Understandable.
Well, Jesse, I've had a blast, and it sounds like we should probably start wrapping this thing up, don't you think?
I think we should, but let us make sure to let people know that, hey, while this race is over, we do have plenty still coming up. Looks like there should be a race going on, possibly right now, still on SpeedGaming 2, between Zelda and MM2. Then we have another race going on at the same time. Looks to be Mr. Ed versus Jay Meisher on SpeedGaming 4. And let's see, tonight we also have SpeedGaming 3, Jejo versus Moogle Charm. And it looks like that's going to close it out for today in terms of main tournament races. But, I mean, as we said, there's 64 races that are going to take place over the next week and a half or so minimum. So plenty of rando action.
If you want to get that rando action, go ahead and drop the follow on SpeedGaming through 2 through 6, to ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 5. You can get it the speedgaming.org/schedule to find out what's upcoming, be it this tournament or other things. Oh goodness, where is the schedule for the... Jesse, you're going to have to move this one for the tournament proper.
Personally, I would recommend the Discord for it, but...
That's a good one.
I think we have that command. There we go. So drop that command over in chat so you do have options for seeing all that extra information as well.
Yeah, I've had a blast. I think this is the time where we go ahead and start signing this thing off. Ari, McMonkey, thank you one more time for putting on a great show. Jesse, pleasure working with you.
Always.
Scoopula, thank you for doing all of the tracking here, making our lives ever so much easier. Everybody out there in chat, I hope you had a wonderful time. Jesse, if you've got a final word, go for it.
Watch tourney races, have fun. If you have any interest in learning about Link to the Past Randomizer, today is the final day to sign up for the mentor tournament hosted by the Go Mode podcast. So maybe consider doing that. It's a great way to get into the hobby. But I think that's it for today. So have a great night, and we'll see you all for the next race.